might think this is a normal Lego brick, but no, this is a normal Lego brick. These bricks came out in the 60s and most people have never even heard of them. So I ordered 1,000 of them, which are all in this box. So I'm gonna show you why Lego even made these and then we'll see what I can build with them. Let's do this. So this package actually came all the way from Sweden, and I live in the US, so that's quite a ways, and shipping was quite expensive too. I think it was about $25 to ship this, but it's good because these were only really released in Europe, and so that's the only way I can buy a lot of them like this. Okay, moment of truth, here we go. Oh, it's covered. This is the guy's Bricklink store name, if you're wondering. What? They're so tiny. What? He's one of these sellers too that like will seal them in bags, which is kind of cool. It feels like those tiny Lego off-brands, except these are all like actually legit Lego. They're so small. So something interesting to note about these, some of them have an M on the studs instead of the Lego logo. And the reason for that is because Lego only owned this company from 1963 to 1965, and then switched over to like its own company thing where they just put an M on the bricks for Module X. But technically these are all official Lego, especially since with these ones, they actually say Lego. These are so tiny, they make my hands look giant. This is really weird. Next to a normal brick, it's like 1/4 of this size. It's so tiny. Putting them together isn't like a satisfying click or anything. They kind of just like slide together. All right, let's just open the rest of these up real quick. All right, so here's all the parts organized, and it's so weird that this is 1,000 pieces because my hands are like almost the size of all these. Like they're so tiny, and it's crazy that these are official Lego. So the reason that these were even made is because the president of Lego at the time was trying to build his house out of Lego, and he realized that he couldn't get it the right scale. The Lego bricks were too tall to make it accurate. So he designed a shorter Lego brick, which you might have noticed about Module X. It's not that it's shorter than a regular Lego brick. The dimensions of Module X are actually different than a regular Lego brick. So if you shrunk this down, it wouldn't equal this. It would be too tall. So after he first made Module X, he thought it might actually be successful for like architecture and stuff, so they actually made it, which is how we have it right now. They didn't come in sets though, they would literally just come in boxes of bricks. Another interesting thing about Module X is they weren't really available to the public. They're more for like businesses and stuff, so it's really cool how I actually have some. Okay, so the real question is, are they compatible with regular Lego bricks? Well, they don't actually fit. They were never intended by Lego to fit with regular pieces either. That doesn't mean that you can't connect them to regular Lego though. If you get a 1x3 Module X brick, it can fit in the bottom of 2 regular studs. So it'll just slide right in like that. And it actually stays in there like a normal Lego piece would, like it clicks in. But technically this could be an illegal Lego building technique. I'm not quite sure. But you can put them in the bottom of pieces like this, and it's actually really weird because it keeps the lip on the outside, and it's just weird seeing a Lego 2x2 with 1x3s on the bottom, but the 1x3s are really tiny. But yeah, you can connect Module X to normal Lego like this. And also, since the brick's dimensions are really short, you can fit in between 2 of these like poles in the bottom of a plate. And it does work, but the stud gets stopped by that, and like one end can go down farther and it tilts like that. But technically it's fitting in there. You can solve this problem by just putting it in a tile instead, but like this tile was super hard to put it in, so it's probably illegal. It was way harder than putting it in the plate, and I don't know why. Yeah, besides that, there's not really any other way to connect these two together. They're kind of like 2 separate Lego bricks, which is really weird for Lego because they always make their bricks compatible. But I guess Module X is kind of an exception to that. Okay, let's try building something out of these. And what better to make than a house, because that's what inspired these, right? I actually didn't get like any base plates for Module X because the seller I bought from didn't have any. So we're gonna have to build a house without one. Okay, well here's my house, and I think it looks more like a military bunker than an actual house. There's a little door, and then it's got a roof and stuff. The roof kind of hangs over one because I realized I had these plates, but they were too big, so just ignore that. But if you look in the bottom, you can see how much of a chaos it was to make a roof without having plates. Like I just had to stack a ton of bricks sideways, and it makes the roof really weak. But I mean, at least it looks decent. Another thing I realized about Module X though is that they don't have 1x6s, so the longest brick I can do is a 1x4. And it's kind of interesting because since these are so old. 1x6s came out in 1961, and these came out in 1962. So I guess it kind of makes sense why they don't have them. And that's also why all of the pieces are so basic, is because back in the 60s, they didn't really have specialty pieces. They were just all basically bricks. Another thing I noticed is that with these slopes, you can see that these taller ones go above the height of bricks, which is kind of interesting. You can see the top of that green brick stops there, but it goes above. And that's so if you put one of these slopes on top of that brick, then this slope is completely flush, which is super nice. Lego doesn't really do that anymore. Like if I try to put two modern Lego slopes together, there's always gonna be a lip. So it's kind of nice how they did make that flush. But yeah, to be honest, building with these, I definitely prefer regular Lego bricks, especially with my bigger hands, because these are so tedious to put together and they kind of hurt. And they squeak too. I don't know if it shows everywhere, but I think it squeaks more than regular bricks. It's just kind of interesting. And if you're wondering what the size of this is compared to a normal Lego piece, well, it's about the size of an 8x8 plate. So it's really small for all of these being 1x2s. For comparison, again, there's a normal Lego 1x2. Okay, so since this looks like a military shack, let's see if we can build like a helicopter or like other vehicles to go inside of it with just these basic bricks. It might be kind of hard, but let's try it. All right, well, I made 4. We got the little Black Hawk helicopter over here, and it looks pretty good if we're just using these bricks. And then I made this little tank. Just remember, these are the most accurate things ever. And this is the B2 Spirit. I had to look up a picture. Definitely looks different from the actual one. And then I made a little Humvee over here, so you can see the little window and the 4 tires, except it doesn't actually connect. There's 3 different parts, because I only have 1x2s in this color. And these are definitely not to scale, because I'm pretty sure this thing's huge, but let's see if it fits in the shed. Shoot, it's not gonna fit in the shed. We'll have to do it upside down. Boom. There we go. They're all in the shed. I think it's funny because you compare these bricks to a normal minifigure, it almost looks like Lego for the Lego minifigure. It's so tiny. They just can't really hold it at all. But I could definitely see me using these for like Lego in a toy shop or something. I think that'd be really cool to see. And yeah, just to compare it for a normal 1x4 brick for a second, it is so much tinier. It's kind of cool. Even though Module X is smaller than regular Lego pieces, it's still a really big Lego piece if you're comparing it to a minifigure. Like it's still like 3 or 4 times the size of his hand. It kind of reminds me of Lego Quattro with how big it is, but you can see that this entire thing can still fit my hand, and this entire brick can definitely not fit in his hand, so scale is definitely off. I'm not sure if this is the biggest brick that Lego actually makes or not. They might make one bigger, but this is the biggest one I have. So I see these things a lot on the sidewalk, and they're kind of just like a yellow thing with a bunch of dots, and they always remind me of Lego bricks. Some of them look even more like Lego bricks than this one, but this is just in general what they kind of look like. So I thought it'd be really cool if I made something like this for the Lego city, but regular Lego pieces are just way too big compared to a minifigure's foot to even look close to this with how tiny these things are. So what if we use Module X for this effect? All right, so I made a little section of sidewalk just like how I have it in the city, and let's see if I can add that texture with some yellow Module X. All right, well, I got them secured in there and they're still a little loose. Like if I move it around, there's gaps that show up, which is really annoying. And since they don't line up perfectly with bricks, I had to put these snot bricks here. Snot stands for studs not on top, so there's studs on the side of this brick. It helps to make them not move as much, but they still move a little bit. And I did the same thing on this side, but still, they move too much to me. You could probably make them stay pretty still if you used like rubber pieces or something, but I'm not sure if that's gonna fit within the sidewalk area. But yeah, compared to a normal minifigure walking on it, this is actually really good scale. It might be slightly too big still if you compare it to like their hand or something, but I think it looks like what it's supposed to, which is kind of cool. So if I can find a more secure way of doing this, I might do this in the city, but for right now I'm not gonna do it just because of how like finicky it is and it doesn't look very good here. So I found some of those knockoff Lego pieces that are really tiny, and you've probably seen these before. They're usually just like weird animals and whatnot, but compared to a Module X brick, they still are tinier. But the Module X brick looks more like Lego because the studs aren't like ridiculously tall like on the knockoff. And here's the normal 1x4 brick compared to those two. Quality of Module X is definitely better than these though, which makes sense because I paid a lot more for official Lego that's this tiny. All right, well there's Lego Module X. I think it's really cool how Lego did make this tiny of Lego once upon a time, even though they don't anymore. And it's cool to see Lego trying to make these bricks more accurate to real life. But yeah, if you want to check out another video similar to this, I'll have a link up here in the corner and down in the description. But as always, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell. That hell was not good. Whatever. First thing I notice is the smell. Yeah, I don't know what it smells. I don't know what to compare it to. How long was Lego Module X available?
Lego Module X was a limited edition series of Lego bricks.
I gotta watch my short real quick. Is there any information I'm missing?
Did you know there are official Lego bricks that are half the size of regular bricks?
The first kiss, the first night, the first song that made you cry, the first drink, red wine.